I'm literally so jet lagged, I fell asleep in the spaghetti earlier. The spaghetti. Hi, I'm Gruffus. Welcome to Puppet Tabletop, and today we're going to be taking a look at Ethnos. No, it was spaghetti and meeples, not meatballs. Ethnos. A board game whose title somehow evokes all the excitement of a plain piece of white bread, while also making you feel like you've said a dirty, dirty word. I had heard about Ethnos for a long while, but never really took the time to look into it. All of the photos that I saw of the original just kinda gave off the vibe of a waiting room at a dentist office. And not the fun dentist that you get to go to as a kid that's got video games and toys and stuff. I'm talking about the boring adult dentist with the really plain waiting room. Now, to be fair, the original version of Ethnos, while not for me, did have a lot of people that really enjoyed it. But the game didn't necessarily have the wide appeal that it probably deserved to. And whenever a board game is in need of a new coat of paint, what's the go-to solution? Say it with me now. Anthropomorphic animals. That historical war theme not working out for you? Hiya! Anthropomorphic animals. Pirate theme too piratey? Hiya! Anthropomorphic animals. That fantasy theme too generic for you? Begone, Ethnos First Edition. Anthropomorphic animals. And thus, Ethnos Second Edition was born. In Ethnos, 1 to 6 players will be taking on the role of a leader, vying for the mantle of Emperor. At the beginning of every game, you'll be setting up the board by randomly selecting 3 prestige tiles at a time and placing them in ascending order in each region. Each player will place a control marker on the point tracker, and then you'll select 6 of the various animal clans to play with in the game and shuffle all of their cards together to form the ally deck. Each player will draw a single card. Then you'll reveal a number of cards from the top of the deck based on the player count. This will form a public pool of allies that you'll be able to draw from during the game. Lastly, you'll shuffle the 3 dragon cards into the bottom half of the deck. And I'll explain the significance of those in just a little bit. But once you've done all that, you're ready to dive into the exciting world of Ethnos. Ooh. Ethnos. So, how do you play this thing? Well, one of the great things about Ethnos is how straightforward the game's mechanics are. On your turn, you're going to be doing just one of 2 different actions. You'll either be drawing a card into your hand, or playing a set of cards from your hand. If you choose to draw a card, you'll take a card from either the face-up card pool, or draw one from the top of the deck. Instead of drawing a card, you can instead play a set of cards from your hand by choosing any number of cards in your hand with a matching animal clan icon on it, or cards with a matching color. These cards form a party, and when you play them, whichever card you choose to put on top is the party leader. And this choice of leader is where most of the strategy in the game comes into play. That's because it determines where on the board you get to place your control marker. If you play a party led by a green card, then you place one of your control markers in the green region. Well, maybe. You see, you can only place a control marker in a region if the number of cards that you played is greater than the number of control markers you already have there. So if you play a party of 2 cards led by a blue leader, but you already have 2 control markers in the blue region, then you don't get to add a control marker to it. However, if you played a party of 3 or more cards led by a blue card, then you can place down the 3rd control marker. Why do you want to place down control markers? To get points. But we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Just a minute. The second thing the leader of your party decides is what special power you get to activate. Every animal clan has a power that they get to use when they lead one of your parties. For example, there's the Owl Summoners clan. These beaked weirdos make your turns more efficient by letting you immediately play a second party if the first party that you played allowed you to place a control marker. Then you've got my personal favorite, the Koi Sea Spirits clan. These fish brains come with their own separate board that you progress on when you play parties led by them. Hit certain milestones on the Koi board, and you get to place down extra control markers. They're not the only ones with their own board though. There's also the Monkey Nomads clan. Whenever you play a party led by the Monkey clan, you get to place an extra control marker on the Monkey settlement board, matching the color of the monkey that led the party you just played. The more colors you cover on the settlement board, the more points you get at the end of the game. And in addition to those 3, there's actually 9 other clans that come in the game. Some of these clans allow you to break the card playing rules, some of them allow you to manipulate the board state, and others just give you additional ways to score points at the end of the game. So whenever you're trying to draw cards, you're thinking the entire time about what kind of set you would like to play. You're trying to consider what color leader you might need so that you can contest a specific region for board control. But you're also trying to make sure that you use a leader that has a power that's actually going to benefit you. But here's the kicker. Once you've played your party, any remaining cards in your hand have to be emptied back into the public pool, and you have to start from scratch. And that's it. That's all that's really going to happen on a turn. At its core, the game is just drawing cards until you've got a set that you're ready to play, and then boom, you play that party. It's an incredibly easy game to get the hang of, as well as to teach to other players. So what's the point of all this though? What's the point of gaining area control? What's the point of playing all these parties? Well, once all 3 of those dragon cards that I mentioned earlier that were shuffled into the deck are revealed, the round ends. At the end of a round, all players discard their hand, and then round end scoring begins. You'll start by seeing who has the most control markers in each region. After the first round, the player with the most control markers gains the value printed on the round 1 tile. After the second round of play though, the player with the most control markers scores the round 2 tile, and the player with the second most scores the round 1 tile. Likewise, in the third round, there's going to be a first, second, and third place score for each region. And this results in players diversifying where they're placing their control markers as the game continues. And once all that scoring's been calculated, you count up the size of every party that you played during your turn, and gain points based on the size of each of those parties. Then you reshuffle all the cards into the deck and set it up just like you did the first round. You repeat these rounds of play 2 or 3 times depending on the player count. After the final round, whoever has the most points is the winner. And that's how you play Ethnos. Ethnos. Okay, seriously, what is that? So, what did I like about Ethnos? First off, I love the simplicity. The rules are so straightforward in this game. On your turn, you either draw a card, or you play a set of cards. It's that simple. It's one of those games that manages to remain extremely simple at its core, while providing a lot of interesting decisions to make along the way. And I love it when a game does that. Plus, it makes the game incredibly easy to teach. Every time I've played this with new people, the setup and teach really only takes about 15 minutes. And another great thing is how quick the turns go by. The turns go so quickly because of how simple the actions that you take on them are. But also at the same time, when a player takes a card or places a new marker on the board, it draws everybody's attention because that might interfere with what you were planning on doing on your turn. So it keeps everybody engaged while still leaving everybody with a very simple decision to make on their turn. Also, we gotta talk about these control markers. I freaking love these little things. They're little pagodas, and whenever you need to place multiple, boop, they stack, and it adds a nice little vertical element to the game's already eye-catching table presence. Ethnos First Edition definitely had some issues in the looks department, but Ethnos Second Edition did a really great job of overcoming that. The last thing I'll mention that I really enjoyed about Ethnos is how much replayability the game offers. Because the game comes with 12 different animal clans for you to use, and every game only uses up to 6 animal clans, every time you play the game it's gonna feel different. It's one of those games that'll feel fresh every time you take it off the shelf. And considering the cost of the game with how much replayability it offers, I definitely feel like I got my money's worth. So, what did I not like? I harped on it at the beginning, but I'm also gonna harp on it now. The anthropomorphic animal theme. Really? Don't get me wrong, some of my favorite games have anthropomorphic animals in it. Everdell, Peacemakers, Root, and Defenders of the Wild are just some that come to mind. The theme is popular for a reason. Everybody loves animals, and on top of that, adding anthropomorphic animals to a game can help make the tone just a little bit lighter if it needs to. But when a game is reskinned with an animal theme that wasn't there in the beginning, I just kinda get the impression that they were phoning it in. Also, while I enjoy the art, I gotta say that the color choices on the cards and board seem a bit weird to me. On the board, there's both a tan and a red region. But on the cards, these colors look a bit too similar and don't really match the color hue that they are on the board. And depending on the lighting in the room, I've noticed that players really struggle to tell the difference, and it sometimes causes them to misplay, grabbing cards thinking that they belong to one region when actually they belong to another. Also, there's a region on the board that's supposed to correspond to the black cards. But the region isn't really black. It's kind of a purplish grayish color, and new players always ask about it every time, guaranteed. The coloring discrepancies really only cause issues for new players, but it's an issue that shouldn't exist at all. And now it's my favorite part of every review. It's box time! based on the section of the review that we're in, I think you can tell how I feel about the box. It's interesting. It's got dividers for everything, but they're all a bit off. There's a section for the player pieces, but it's just an area to pile everything up. Then there's the card dividers. They have individual sections for you to separate the various clan cards, which in theory is great, but they all are staggered and off-centered, causing the cards to kind of fall onto each other in this weird zigzag pattern. Like, I guess it works, but it doesn't really look nice, and I'm constantly worried the cards are gonna get bent. Then there's this odd little circular token area in the middle. Like, what is this thing for? There's no piece in the game that's shaped like that, so I can only assume it's for the smaller cardboard pieces. Maybe. The upside, though, is that the box has a nice plastic topper piece that holds the player clan boards perfectly, and everything fits in the box without causing lift. But overall, the box design is just a little bit confusing. It feels like something you'd find in Willy Wonka's workshop. But not the fun Gene Wilder Willy Wonka or the hip Timothée Chalamet one. I'm talking about that creepy horror movie one with Johnny Depp. I don't care what anyone says, that one's a horror movie.
Where's my little bro? This way? Gruffus!
Topher, what are you doing here?
Oh, I need a reason to visit my little bro? What are you up to?
I'm actually in the middle of recording something right now.
That nerdy board game one, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say nerdy.
Whatever you say, little bro. Listen, what's this I hear about you borrowing money from Vinny?
It's not what it sounds like. I'm fine. Seriously, I'm actually fine.
Really? Because it sounds like you did exactly what mom and dad told you not to do. How many times did they tell you to stay away from Vinny and the rest of the octopuses down at La Jolla Cove?
I know, but it was the only way I was gonna be able to get the show off the ground.
Alright, well now you're in trouble and your big bro's gonna help you out. I got a job working for this new company and I'm gonna need a week, but I think I can help you. Just promise me you're gonna be nicer to Mortimer in the meantime. He told me you've been kind of a jerk recently.
I'm the jerk. I'm not the jerk. You know what he did, right?
I don't see how that's a problem.
If you were a board gamer, you'd understand.
Whatever you say, little bro. I'll call you later, but just remember what I always tell you. Never let the party die.
Yeah, never let the party die. He always says that. Now for the solo mode review, please welcome our resident solo reviewer, Mortimer.
Hey Gruffus, was that Topher?
Yes. Apparently you've been chatting.
I mean, a little bit. Why?
Oh, nothing. I just think it's interesting, that's all.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
So
how's the solo mode?
Ethnos was a pretty conflicting game for me to play solo. It plays very similar to the standard game, but there's an automated opponent named Chief Bruno. You see, there's a pretty big issue with the solo mode that really prevented me from enjoying it. The issue is that the rules written in the solo mode have some major mistakes. There's lots of misleading and omitted clarifications that make playing the solo mode practically impossible without house ruling some things. I was able to play the solo mode mostly correctly, I think, but the lack of clarity put a damper on the experience. It was clear there were solid bones for an enjoyable solo experience here, but without more clear and concise rules, I really don't think it's worth the effort. Plus, I'm not a fan of house rules if I can avoid them, so that was a bit of a bummer for me. Overall, I feel the intended solo experience is pretty solid, but trying to figure out what that solo experience is supposed to be was just more effort than it was worth. If you're interested in this game solely for the solo experience, I'd say you might end up a bit disappointed unless you're fine with house ruling things. I just really can't see myself wanting to— Alright, thank you, Mortimer. Really? Really, Gruffus, we're still doing this?
So, that's Ethnos. It's a game that left me a bit conflicted. On the one hand, the game has some visual elements that can make the game a bit confusing for new players, and the solo mode has some egregious rules errors that make playing it really a struggle. On the other hand though, the standard multiplayer mode is just an absolute great time. It's fun and easy to pick up. Ultimately, I feel like the multiplayer gameplay is good enough that it makes up for all the other flaws in the game, and I can definitely see this game staying in my collection for a while. But if you're looking for a good solo game, I'd say keep looking. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. As always, thanks for watching, and remember to shop at your local board game store if you can. Trust me, getting spaghetti out of your fur is so much harder than you would expect.